Hey everybody, it's Tiqqle, and in this video we're going over the changes to Enhance Shaman, the latest ones on the PTR. Now they've been announced and input on the PTR for the past few days, maybe about 6 days, but quick update, I've been sick after BlizzCon. If you didn't see a BlizzCon video, definitely check the description below. Pretty crazy. I got sick though after that for about a week, so now I'm just kind of catching up, reading the patch notes, catching up on the PTR about what's going on, and pretty significant changes for Enhance. I just also got Gladiator on Enhance Shaman, and I actually think Enhance Shaman are in for quite a rough ride in 8.1 because of the changes that Blizzard is making. Now, I haven't done tests with Enhance Shaman. I've only done a look at the changes and also the changes to the PvP talents, what's been removed. And it changes the playstyle of Enhance. Now, a big change they made across the board is totally tweaking what is going to do damage on with what ability as an Enhanced Shaman. But most significantly is the change to the PvP talents for you PvP Enhanced Shamans out there. Specifically, they have removed Fork Lightning, they have removed Static Cling, and they have changed Ride the Lightning. Those are the three big boom talents that you would go in PvP, and that would be your top damaging abilities. They've now changed that. They've just removed Static Cling, period. They have made Fork Lightning something that is built into Ride the Lightning. So let's just take a quick look. Ride the Lightning, you can see on the screen. If there are 2 or more enemies within 8 yards when you cast Storm Strike, you also cast a Chain Lightning, dealing, oh, and that damage is down, 2.5k nature damage to those targets nearby. Now, otherwise, if there's not 2 enemies within 8 yards, you'll conjure bolts of lightning up to 2 furthest enemies away, up to 40 yards. That's actually pretty far. That's max healing range. To 2.5k nature damage as well. So they've merged Ride the Lightning and Fork Lightning together, and they made this into one ability. Now, it's actually a nerf to our overall damage, so that's not the best thing. Now, what it means, and also a huge significant change, is to Static Cling. Static Cling would lead to kills with Enhanced Shaman, increasing your damage significantly when you do 2 Storm Strikes on the same target. You could do that, and then you could Sunder, and that's how people are getting those huge, fatty Sunders. Now that's changed. That's pretty much gone. And now what the options are about, I mean, it's kind of good, it's kind of bad. One is, with that change, now the PvP talents that you're going to be selecting are going to be more in the realm of Shamanism, even if you have a chance to get it dispelled, because right now people aren't running Shamanism in general, because that is a trait, that is a PvP talent that can be purged off pretty quick. But now maybe it's not the biggest deal. So the other thing that you'll probably be seeing is a utility pick. So you'll probably see Shamanism a lot more in this tree, because Thunder Charge isn't really worth it. Ethereal is not worth it. Sky Fury could be, maybe, depending on your comp. Counter-Strike, probably not worth it. Purifying, not. Spectral Recovery, you might be seeing a combo of Spirit Wolf, Spectral Recovery a lot more in terms of a defensive capability, but that will the whole purpose of this whole thing that Blizzard's doing around Enhanced Shamans, in my opinion, I haven't tested it out too much in PvP, but they're trying to slow down the pace of murdering people with an Enhanced Shaman. I mean, with the changes that they're doing here in the PvP tree, and then also we're going to get into the other changes that are coming to the main talent tree and the main abilities, which is pretty significant. They're basically doing a rework of Enhance without changing any of the abilities, which is a pretty big task to do. Now, just going back to the PvP talents for a sec, I honestly think you're going to be going Ride the Lightning pretty much every time. That's additional damage. It's going to still be a top damager for you. So maybe, probably Shamanism or Sky Fury in this slot I could see, because Sky Fury actually does affect, it could affect your Overcharge here, or it could affect your Ride the Lightning abilities here. Now, the other trait that I think you're going to go is you're going to go either Grounding, Swelling Waves, or Spectral Recovery. And I think this is all about utility for your team. Grounding, if any casters, any big CCs that could be coming in against a Mage, against a Boomkin, against a Resto Druid, against even an Arsham maybe, to stop interrupts and stuff. But in terms of utility for healing and survivability, this could be a good thing for Enhanced Shamans, making them choose Spectral Recovery, making them choose Swelling Waves. I think there's going to be a playstyle change coming in 8.1 for Enhanced that's going to make them a little bit more tuned towards a defensive melee, where they're not going to be going full bore all the time. They're going to have their windows of opportunity, and then they're going to have their times when they need to chill out. And I think that's across the board what Blizzard's trying to do with 8.1. They're trying to stop the full Mongos, and they're trying to make it so you get a proc or you get an opportunity for burst, and that's when you burst. Now, the problem is usually Blizzard forgets about 1 or 2 classes that makes it through the crack. And when it makes it through the crack, those are the ones that are going to be the Mongo cities, and you're going to see those escalating, kind of going crazy on the ladder in the first few weeks. But in terms of the other changes. This is just the PvP talent changes. Let's go into the changes for the talent trees that were recently announced. Now, I'm going to give you links in the description. Let me just point out a few things. One, it's hard to keep track of the latest changes for your class. It's also hard to keep track of where is all the changes for my class. They made a change last week, now this week, now the next week. Where's it all? Well, I will say that Wowhead has a pretty good resource where it has a place where it aggregates all the information at once. And that's where you're going to want to go. So make sure to check the description if you want to see that aggregate of all of the information that has been changed about your class. Huge help. Now, the specific changes I'm going to be going over was in a specific update just about a week ago for 8.1 for Enhanced Shamans. Now, I just want to review this post because I think it's important and it shows that Blizzard's trying to make a playstyle change of Enhance. Now, okay, we're adjusting the following talents. Boulder Fist damage increased by 35%. It's pretty big. What does Boulder Fist do, you might ask? Rockbiter recharge time is reduced by 15% and does increased damage. That increased damage is now to 35%. This means you're gonna be able to Rockbiter a lot more, which means Strength of Earth maybe for an Azeroth trade might be good here, as that might be more of a selection. Right now, Nature's Harmony is king, but Strength of Earth is a close second. Even though they're nerfing Strength of Earth. Anyway, all right, next, Lightning. So this actually makes Boulder Fist a more attractive option, but you still have Lightning Shield. Oh, but wait, Lightning Shield no longer generates any bonus Maelstrom. Then why the heck are you taking it? There's no reason to take Lightning Shield if that's the case. It doesn't do any damage. That's what we were taking it for. So pretty much this is making Lightning Shield not worthwhile. It's not worth it. I'm just trying to see, causing you to do an additional nature damage to each attack. That's, I don't know. I don't see 6% of attack power. I don't see it being worth it for this. It seems like a more consistent play, but to be honest with you, it just doesn't seem good. Boulder Fist looks like it's going to be the play going into 8.1. Next, Landslide, which is on the second tier. Landslide changed the proc to 40% chance. It used to be 20% chance, I believe. And what does it do? Rockbiter increases your damage of your next Storm Strike by 100%. Now, again, that synergizes very well with Boulder Fist. Now you're starting to see this proc chance is starting to come into play more, other than what has been Enhance's bread and butter, which has been pump them till you dump them with Storm Strikes. So Blizzard's definitely making a play towards Enhance isn't going to do huge damage until those procs appear, and that's when you pump. Next, Forceful Winds. It's being nerfed, but it's not a huge nerf, but it's going from 100% per stack to 80% per stack. What does that even mean? This means increased Wind Fury causes your next successive Wind Fury attack within 15 seconds to increase damage of Wind Fury by, and now they reduced it from 80 to 100. Not a huge damage, I mean 20% damage decrease is big, but really this is like a red herring. They want you to go to Landslide. I can just feel it in my bones. The alternative option now for consistent damage is Totem Mastery. They're also changing Totem Mastery. The Storm Totem is now changing Storm Strike from doing 5% increased damage to 10%. This means overall you're just going to be doing 10% increased damage with Storm Strike. Hello? That's pretty good. What do the other totems do? You have the Regenerate Maelstrom, one Maelstrom every 1 second. That's actually okay. That compensates for the Lightning Shield change. Increase the damage of Sword Strike. We're going to talk about that. Increase Lava Lash. Meh, unless you're going Hot Hand, which some people are definitely soaking up that Hot Hand. Next, increases your chance to trigger Wind Fury by 2%. You know, it is what it is. Hailstorm. Next change, Hailstorm. Hailstorm increased damage by 50%. That's pretty huge, actually. That's a big deal, especially with people running Nature's Harmony, which basically allows you to keep the uptime of Nature's Harmony buff and Hailstorm pretty easily. This is actually a pretty big change. They're basically pulling people away from the current trait, which is Searing Assault. No one's going to use that anymore after this. And because the other change is to Overcharge. Overcharge is being changed and now has a 9-second cooldown instead of 12. I don't think the cooldown was really the factor here. I think it was just a clunky part of the rotation, but with a 9-second cooldown, that actually makes it pretty viable in terms of a dump of Maelstrom. Now, Overcharge can take up to 40 Maelstrom, which is the same thing as Lava Lash. So if you could even Overcharge instead of Lava Lash, and if it does more damage, this could be on pace with the Maelstrom generation that you're going to have now. Because before at 12 seconds, you're going to be getting up to that Maelstrom and down, and it's not a smooth part of your rotation. But now it could be, potentially, and this is a potential opportunity to use Sky Fury as well in PvE. Now, in PvP. Now, for PvE, I see this as being maybe viable, but I almost feel like Hailstorm is going to be the choice in PvE because you're going to have that buff up all the time. Next is to the next tier. Fury of Air increased damage by 40%. I have to be honest. Fury of Air used to be a good trait in Legion, especially against cleave teams in PvP. In Mythic Pluses, I think this is going to be now a potential selection, because Sunder is an ability that has a ton of burst damage, but not consistent damage. And in Mythic Dungeons, you're going to be going through so fast. You're going to have mobs all the time. You got to be able to, if you need burst, you can take Sunder, but otherwise, Fury of the Air can be a good selection as long as you're keeping your mouse regeneration up and you're moving. The key here is your movement, because the other thing they've done is they've increased Crash Storm by 40%, which is when you crash lightning, you leave a little AoE puddle, and that can do damage. Now, these both abilities have done junk, nothing in BFA, and now they're changing it, turning on its head, and now it's something that's going to be viable into the next patch. I think it's interesting. It's a play towards PvE, I think, because Sunder is such a big damage ability, and it is such a, I mean, it's an interrupt. It does a lot of different things for you. I can see Fury of the Air being selected into a turbo, into something, though, in terms of cleaving damage, because you can go into Ghost Wolf even, I'm pretty sure, and keep Fury of the Air up. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you could use that, and as long as you have the Maelstrom to fund it, because it does soak Maelstrom every 3 seconds, you could keep that going in Ghost Wolf with your Ghost Wolf abilities, with your Ghost Wolf defensives. There's a viability here if this actually does damage. I need to test it more, but let me know in the comments what you guys think. This is a pretty big change in terms of PvE, PvP. Which do you think is impacted more by this change, PvE or PvP? Blizzard goes on to explain a little bit, right? They say Lightning Shield and Forcible Winds have been popular traits now. Pretty much they're saying that everyone's choosing them for everything, and we don't want to reduce the enhancement overall damage with the two change of the talents. So additionally, all damage increased by 5%. Now you might be saying to yourself, shit, that's pretty good. 5% damage, I will take it. It's kind of done in a weird way, though. It's not a blanket 5% change, because what's happening is they're also doing a change that they're leaving at the very end, and they even have this do not panic. Blizzard are saying don't panic, so but definitely panic. Just kidding. What's happening is, in addition to these changes above, we're also how tooltips are generating, blah, blah, blah. This may cause some websites to show our healing and damage. For almost every single enhancement ability has changed. Do not panic. We're not lowering your damage and healing. This is behind the scenes change. So it's a little bit confusing. This part is very confusing because they're making a buff, 5% overall, but I think they're also making an adjustment in the other direction, or retooling some things in a different way overall. Because if you look, there's like, okay, yeah, here's the tooltips that are being updated. You never know. Put on your tinfoil hat. But you can see almost every ability is getting adjusted. Flame Tongue is going down by 10% of attack power. Frostbrand going down by 8%. It's just very weird. It's not easy to track and keep up with it. This is all the talent stuff we just read. The Sundering is doing significantly less damage, but they're saying that it's not. Is it Blizzard? I don't know. I can't tell. So they're saying, no, don't worry. We're not changing your damage. We're not decreasing it. But we're decreasing your your attack power scaling by pretty much half. So I don't know what that means, guys. I don't know if that means it's going to do less, more. I'm not really sure. But I would definitely say hop on that PTR and give it a try. I'm trying it a little bit. It's hard to tell because it just feels different now because you're taking significantly different talents. I mean, in the PTR now, what is the talent build going to look like for PvP? To be honest with you, it's going to look like Boulder Fist, Landslide, probably Spirit Wolf, because you might be going Spectral Recovery, and you might be going in that Spirit Wolf and having to heal and do a lot of different things. Pack Spirit might become a thing for Enhancement Shamans on priority to live. I mean, that is and that's not a bad thing. That just makes Enhance a little bit more proc-based, focused on bursting in the windows of opportunity and playing extremely defensive when you don't have that, potentially. Now, the other thing, I'm probably going to go Overcharge or Hailstorm, depending on if it's a range or melee. I'm kind of glad that the good old Overcharge got tweaked. Now, if you see, but has a 7.5 second cooldown. That's even different than the tooltip they have online. So there's definitely some changes going on nonstop. But the abilities and the choices that you're going to make are going to be different, and that's kind of cool. It's kind of nice. I actually think overall, it's going to be a nerf though. I actually think, and guys, you know, I've went over the change, and that's the end of the changes. The other changes, like there's some Azerite power changes, but to be honest with you, they're not that notable, other than the fact that they're nerfing Primal Primer. But I don't know if they said they're not doing damage nerfs, but then they'll see it, and then there's down. So all these Strength of Earth, Rolling Storm, Primal are getting nerfed, but the new trait is actually getting buffed a little bit. The Fury Totem, Storm Strike deals additional damage and has a chance to summon a Fury Totem, doubling the chance to activate Wind Fury, which is actually super cool. I'm going to use it no matter what because it's just freaking cool. But, you know, but that's pretty much the changes, everybody. There's a ton of damage changes. It's like, are you nerfing us or are you buffing us? I can't tell. But guys, that's about it. Now, in summary, what do I think of these changes? I actually think the playstyle for Enhanced Shamans will be significantly different in 8.1. I think they will actually be significantly weaker in terms of doing damage in PvP. In PvE, I think they could be more fun. Right now, I don't think they're necessarily the most fun class to play, mostly because of their procs aren't procs. They proc 80% of the time, so you're just smashing buttons. I think the rotation could be more fun now because it's a little bit more like, oh, I got to proc once out of every 8 times. That's kind of nice, maybe cool. RNG, maybe Shaman Man, I don't know. But in general, I think the PvE side may be more fun, but I think it's going to be, and maybe because the PvP talents aren't adjusted there, PvE might survive, might still keep up with the damage that they're doing because they want to keep it the same. PvP it's a nerf. I'm almost 100% sure the playstyle for Enhance will now feel more. I'm worried. I haven't done it yet, so I can't say disclaimer. Haven't tested it exactly, but what I can say is I worry that it's going to be more clunky. But it's so hard to tell. It's so hard. I don't really have a judge. All I know is that we're going to be probably doing less consistent damage, and we're going to be more spiky damage, which is good and bad, I think, from an enhancement standpoint. I think right now Enhance is really one of the most powerful melee classes in the entire game. The amount of damage they do is kind of dumb. But they have some limitations in terms of stun and CC, but their consistent damage is like a Frosty Cane Legion. It's crazy. But, you know, I'm glad that there did some changes to the PvP talents, basically meaning that Shamanism will be back, but I think the playstyle in PvP is going to be defensive, and that's not a good thing for Enhance. It's not a good thing for Turbo Cleaves. It's not necessarily a great thing because they didn't give us a more... We have some where we might go full defensives now. I mean, it's just might be a dampener melee, and that's never a great place for a melee to be because there's usually a caster that can do it better. So guys, that's kind of my synopsis. PvE, probably the same, more fun. PvP, I'm really worried because it seems like the damage, they said it's not going to go down. I think it's going to go down because you're not going to be getting chain lightnings and fork lightnings, because you're not going to have that static cling bursting on top of you, and because you're not going to have that consistent huge Maelstrom pool to be dumping those huge Storm Strikes. I think Storm Strike procs are going to happen less. I think you're going to be dependent on those procs to really be using them. I am worried. But with that being said, I will be playing Enhanced in 8.1. I will be maining LA Shaman because the LA Shamans look beautiful. But guys, with that being said, I just want to say I'm positive. I have a positive outlook. I just think it's going to be way different, and I think damage is going to go down for Enhanced. And with that being said, my rambling done. This has been a quick, not quick, video about the 8.1 changes for Enhanced Shaman. If you want to see the full list of changes, make sure to look in the description because there is a full list. And there is a lot. That patch is going to be ginormous and extremely intimidating. But anyway, guys, that's it. You guys check the description for the links and let me know in the comments. Do you think it's an overall nerf, PvE, PvP? Let me know specifically what you think for PvE. Let me know specifically what you think for PvP. And I will see you in the next one. Guys, like this video, and I will see you on stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. And with the holidays coming up, it might be a little bit different. But make sure to stay tuned, guys. Have a great one. Bye-bye.